Hello and welcome to Weekend Investing Daily Bites. Today is 11th of November and we're shooting episode 131. Today we're going to talk about whether we should diversify into the US markets if we have not so far, and who this is suitable for. And we will try to take a look at the last many decades of data that we have and see what would have been the outcome had we diversified, and does that give us any indicators for the future. But first let's take a look at the markets today. So the markets were totally listless and down. There was no attempt also to sort of go up today. Bank Nifty, as I've been mentioning last many days, has been extremely weak, and the same trend continued today, where PSU banks, real estate stocks, pharma stocks, some autos got hit, FMCG, private banking, pretty much everything got hit. Even sugar stocks, which were up dramatically yesterday, got hit, and some metal stocks on back of Tata Steel expectations were up. Other than that, it was a totally down day, and the index is now beginning to sort of feel very sluggish. The earlier situation where the index was attempting pullbacks after every few days seems to be giving away right now, especially on the banking index. But even Nifty has broken a very important flag level on the charts, but still not so bad. It can easily be made up. In terms of the indices, all indices were down between 0.5% to about 1%. Small caps were up in the morning, but they also gave up most of the gains by evening. Small cases by weekend investing saw a mixed performance, some slightly up, some down 1%, 1.2%. NG 50/50, which is a Nifty and gold linked strategy, actually did very well at plus 0.72%. So gold will obviously, whenever markets will go down over a period, you will see that gold will give you a very good hedge against the market. But that is again up to a personal preference, how much hedge you wish to keep, and do you want to keep it in gold or some other cryptocurrency or something like that. So the question is that should you diversify in the US markets? So my sense is that people who are beginning to invest or have less capital right now should not sort of widen their diversification too much, because there are complications of this diversification, and we can talk about it. But yes, portfolios or investors who have invested large sums of money already in the Indian market can look for diversification for de-risking or reducing the sort of ROMAD ratio, so as to say improving the ROMAD ratio and reducing the drawdowns. I would think that new investors can avoid for now, but more entrenched investors should start to diversify, not trying to time the market right now, because both markets are elevated right now. We may remain in this elevated fashion for long, or we may top out here and go into a dive. Nobody knows. But from an allocation perspective, from a diversification perspective, I think, let's say if you are having a portfolio of 5 lakhs and above, you could look at to gradually diversify into the US market. So there is need for diversification, because the developed world, where we are seeing a lot of innovation, and we've seen, for instance, all this new age companies doing so well, whether it was Facebook, whether Google, whether it's Apple, whether it is Tesla, and a large chunk of that market cap, you would want some exposure to that, either through some ETFs or directly through stocks, etc. And we can talk about that as well. Another thing that is really sort of in the face is that long term US and INR trend has been just one way. So, to that extent, on a global currency basis, and if you consider USD as the benchmark, and it is actually, so from that perspective, we are vulnerable or we are losing ground every year. And your assets usually are not linked to uh, the global currency. So, besides gold, which you can say is an international asset, uh, most of the other assets that we have, whether it is real estate, whether it is equity, whether it is local bonds, have nothing to do with the global currency. And we may feel that we are doing very well in our local currency, but as a global citizen, we may be losing ground each year. Our purchasing power may be losing ground. So we need to be having exposure to assets which can give us the returns which any global citizen is having. So there is need for a dollar denominated asset in your portfolio. Let me also show you the USD INR chart here. One second. Okay, so let's take a look at USD INR and let's take a monthly chart, and I will just close this and let me just remove all the drawings, make it a line chart. This is what we have in terms of last since 1973, almost 50 years of data that we have here. And one thing that you can notice is that by default the direction is up. So we are losing ground. There are periods where where we try to gain, but overall we are losing ground versus the US dollar. So to that extent, we lose purchasing power for sure. Okay. Now the third item on the agenda is complementarity of US versus India markets. So this is again, let me take you to the charts and let's open the S&P 500, or let me first chart the Nifty. So this is the Nifty chart for the last 30 odd years of data. Is all fine, and Nifty is always going up, but let's compare it to S&P 500, and this chart will look very nice in our context that S&P is up 1200% and we are up 5000% in the last 30 years. However, we are pricing ourselves in rupees, whereas SPX is priced in dollars. So we will just divide this by USD INR, our Nifty, and you can see that Nifty, at least from beginning of 1991, about 31 years, has not outperformed S&P 500 over a period of 3 decades. So overall, over 3 years, discounting the dividends, pretty much both have achieved the same, and I'll come to the numbers in the next slide. But just look at the complementarity of the situation here. This entire decade was flat for Nifty from 92 till about 2002-3. In the same time period, even if you consider here, S&P was going up, but for most part of the decade, S&P was up, and only in this 2000 to 2003 region both declined. Okay. In the next phase, in the 2008 run up, Nifty went up dramatically, even in dollar terms, whereas S&P was more flattish, but of course the fall was also meaning. So if we come to 2001, then S&P had a flattish decade here from 2000 to 2010. However, Nifty had a pretty dramatic decade here, uh, going up while S&P was down, and then in the last decade both have gradually gone up. uh, so you can see that there is complementarity between the two indices. So when the developed world was doing well, the risk assets or the developing economies were taking a breather, and when the risk on trade was happening, the developed world was slightly more I wouldn't say soft, but it was taking its time out. And you can see that S&P from 2000 till about 2013, for 13 years, there was no new high on the S&P 500. And in dollar terms, actually, if you see the Nifty also from 2008 highs, barring a slight going above the level, even we have taken from January 8 till about almost 12 years to really break through this top. Of course, this top broke in January 18, but we came down. But so the point that we usually don't see here is that there can be very, very long periods of stagnation of indices, especially in dollar terms. And we need to have strategies which will outperform this stagnation even when the index is not performing. But coming back to the main point, that there is definitely complementarity between the US market and in the Indian markets, and then in the coming episodes of Daily Bite we will further explore and deeper this and go deeper into this research as to how we can make more use of this complementarity. And then of course there is, as I mentioned in the beginning, depending upon whether you are a beginning investor or a very experienced professional investor, difficulties of execution, taxation, etc. So there are costs involved in sending money and getting your money back from the US. The conversion charges are there, and then of course many vehicles are available today too if you wish to invest in the US, and we'll do this in another DB also. But taxation can be an issue. We don't have the luxury of the short-term capital gain or the long-term capital gain on that. So there are caps to what you can invest every year in terms of the liberalized remittance scheme of the RBI. So there are several issues that are there in US market investing directly, but if you go through an ETF, etc., many of those issues get taken care of. So this is pretty much sort of the overall view on diversification, and this is the chart that I wanted to show, the table based on the chart that I was showing you over 30 years. You can see that this decade 91 to 2001, Nifty, after being adjusted for USD, gave you a return of only 5.7% on the US dollar CAGR, whereas S&P 500 gave you 15% nearly. In the next decade, 2001 to 11, Nifty gave you 15% USD returns CAGR, whereas S&P gave you nothing, minus 0.6%. And then this third decade, 2011 to present, Nifty has given only 6.5% CAGR, whereas S&P 500 is given 12.55% CAGR. Overall, if you see over 30 years, both are pretty much in the same bracket. So when we will combine these two in a strategy, you will see the benefits of the complementarity and the lower diversification, lower drawdowns on the strategies, whereas overall returns may or may not get impacted, and we'll see that in following daily bites in rest of the weeks. But this is a very important segment that one should look at, in my view, especially for intermediate and advanced investors. Not worrying about the current state of the market, but as a plan for allocation for the coming decade for yourself. And we will talk about more on this subject in the coming daily bite. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.